Kenya is located on the eastern coast of Africa. It is below Somalia and Ethiopia. It is north of Tanzania. Kenya has considerable land area devoted to wildlife habitats known as Kenya Safari and National Parks. Kenyans are happy, culturally and socially oriented people. But on the 21st September 2013, disaster struck.
Yes, on that very day I was producing all the transmissions of that day of the BBC Somali service, and our target audience is in East Africa, including parts of Kenya, northeastern Kenya, and also Somalia, Djibouti, Ethiopia, part of Ethiopia, one region of Ethiopia, as well as Somaliland and Puntland, which are part of Somalia, which although some of them claim independence or secession from parts of Somalia. So one reporter about 2 o'clock that day, 21st September, called me and said there is an incident, gunmen have fired. So at that moment we didn't know exactly what was it about, who the gunmen were, and we thought it may be a small incident that would pass immediately. And then we reported that there was an incident, gunfire has been heard, and that was it in that first transmission, which was about 1 o'clock, around 2 o'clock. But later in the evening, when it was about 6 o'clock for our next transmission, then the incident was coming in force, and we were getting reports that the gunmen have entered and have killed a number of people.
Part of the building was controlled, you know, the police were there, you couldn't enter, but my cousins and everything, they were actually involved in, I think, a cooking competition there. There was like half a dozen families, and they were involved in a competition, you know, there. And they were dropped off there by the driver, I think on the second or on the third floor. So, you know, once we heard what happened, first of all, the cousins, they said, oh, this happened. They actually walked in. They walked into the building and just saw the bodies on the floor.
As BBC, we were reporting that around 67 in total have died. That is a conservative number, which BBC is always conservative to make sure that it doesn't exaggerate the number. So it's very conservative and most probably the factual number that we could have confirmed.
The attack, which resulted in at least 72 deaths, including 61 civilians, 6 Kenyan soldiers, and 5 attackers. The attackers held hostages and later engaged in gun battles with Kenyan security forces. Over 200 people were reportedly wounded in the mass shooting, with all of the gunmen killed.
Brother-in-law actually went there. Yeah. He was, I mean, from first hand, he was, the police first said that explosion took place there in the actual, the building. I think this time the insurgents had been caught and were taken away, but then they said there's still someone in there. The police actually wouldn't go in there. But then I think a few hours later, and this is in the evening, that the phone came, and they said that they think that there were more bodies in the actual shopping center, and then the police actually piled mattresses and objects in the center of the building and just caused the explosion or set the whole building on fire to bring part of the building and everything down.
A spokesman from Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility, saying that it was a reprisal attack for Kenyan troops going into Somalia and actually overthrowing Al-Shabaab authority in one of the towns inside Somalia, which is called Kismayo. So they said it was a revenge attack, reprisal attack, and that they would continue until Kenyan troops would leave Somalia and in that country.
Kenya became independent in 1963 with late Jomo Kenyatta as the Prime Minister stroke President and founding father of the nation until its demise in 1978.
Kismayo town is a town that was very important for Al-Shabaab because it was financially important for them. They got money, taxes, and they also exported jackal from that town. So they were very angry when they lost that town.
I think if something like that happens, if once they stop, then the insurgents know that yes, we won. We've massacred 60, 70 or 100 people, and the government have pulled out their troops. Yeah, whatever they're doing, for whatever cause, first find out what are they doing in another country. I mean, America, UK have been doing that for decades, interfering in other people's country. So I think that the benefit outweighs what they're trying to do.
So, coming back to your question, which is what kind of ideology they do have, it is an Islamism, extremist Islamism ideology, which means that it should be the Sharia law that is ruling the whole world, and the whole world should become Muslim. It's only the forces and the international community that is preventing them, and we already have African Union troops inside Somalia, and there are plans to bring in United Nations into Somalia. All of it is to stop Al-Shabaab doing what they're doing.
One child who was I think 16 years old, and the grandmother, I think she was maybe 70. I think from the day any child comes into this world, mother, father, parents, grandmothers, they have so many plans from day one. When he's one, there's two, there's 3, 4, and future plans. 16th birthday. He just actually had his 16th birthday, not too long before that. You got plans for, you start dreaming of plans for the wedding, for his future, for his business. He'll take over the family business, and then something like that happens. It just crushes all that. It just destroys everything that you've dreamt of. Just so many plans, so many future, so many things that there's no words can say.
I think as what has happened has affected many people. It's not only the civilians or the victims of the attack, but also in the reprisal attacks, or when the security forces took steps after the incident has happened. It has also affected many people, innocent people who did not do anything, were arrested and attacked and so on. The lesson to be learned from this incident is that the civilians should know that they could be victims of attacks, terrorist attacks, and etc. So the main thing is that life should go on.
The more you talk about it, the more you remember their good times. That's the only way you can, that's your counseling. People who shy away, just close up on themselves, that they can't, they will destroy themselves. Constantly thinking. Just remember the good times. and just remember the times that he or she had with them, and just remember that. Remember the lives. Remember the times they lived, not the passing, what could have happened or what should have happened, but what's happened is happened, and just forgive, not forget, but just remember the good times and just carry on. I think the bond that we have with the family and with the extended family, they are our strength, and we forgive them for what they've done. They've destroyed us, but we will arise from that and become even stronger. Life must go on.